Today, we're providing an overview of the practicum project that our assigned group completed for Celanese Corporation. Our project consisted of 4 group members: Candace Pageant, John Cartwright, Justin Smallwood, myself, and JC Hudson, who worked very closely together to provide an evidence-based virtual presentation series for Celanese Corporation, a large international chemical supplies and manufacturing company. We specifically worked to present this series in partnership with the Young Professionals Group in Celanese at their Kentucky location. But since it was a virtual workshop, people from several locations were invited to join. While the presentation series was the most visible project deliverable, we also spent countless amounts of time completing a comprehensive literature review that included over 60 sources, developing a computer-based feedback survey, and analyzing the data and compiling a final report with supplemental questions and answer components. In Psychology 810, Consulting and Business Skills, we worked as pairs to develop a response for a request for proposal that EKU had received from Celanese Corporation to offer a presentation series on the topics of organizational structure and development, psychology of safety, and groups and teams. As pairs, we developed a response in 811, professional development, worked on a contract for the project. In 811, we were presented with the challenge of having to work as individuals on this project, which led to our decision to divide the project according to the topics, with 3 of us taking a topical section and 1 of us taking a benchmarking perspective on all 3 topics. As this was a large project and we were asked to work individually, this seemed the most sensible solution. Throughout our time in 811, we gathered, analyzed, and synthesized large volumes of research on our assigned topics. When we were able to reconvene, we realized what a challenge we had in compiling our collective findings and information. Though we feel like we managed the project to the best of our ability, the inability to collaborate on the project throughout 811 created a delay in project organization that may not have ordinarily have been present had we been permitted to collaborate. Despite the challenges, we each rose to the occasion to thoroughly research our topics and provide quality information for the client in our 3 respective workshops. While merging the individual work was a challenge, once combined, the literature review contained more than 60 sources and provided great detail into the client's topics of interest. Jumping into the actual presentation content, we compiled our information together and began to develop each presentation as associated materials. While we had a few questions regarding the initial project proposal, our team did a great job communicating with the client and doing our best to align the original proposal, contract, and timeline provided. While the 3 45-minute live virtual presentations were the bulk of the project, we also provided many associated materials such as comprehensive literature reviews, participant guides, facilitator guides, and a question and answer follow-up, survey information, and analysis regarding the presentation's utility, and a thorough final report that all combined ended up being more than 99 pages in total. The first presentation was organizational structure and innovation. While we found out some of the methods Celanese had used in the past, such as Agile, we tried to provide an updated view on further ideas for them and focus much of the discussion on VUCA and how to manage this model in an applied setting. In addition, the presentation allowed participants to think about the components of VUCA or VUCA in their work setting, creating opportunities for them to practice applying the concept. The presentation also consisted of recommendations and benchmarking information regarding companies that are known for their innovation. The second presentation was Psychology of Safety. discuss the differences between psychological safety and psychology of safety, and highlighted why each was important in the workplace and how the study of IO can have a positive impact in the workplace. This presentation provided information regarding safety in the workplace and allowed for participants to think about the environments that they have been in and what could have been improved upon or what was working well from a safety perspective. The final presentation, work groups and teams, provided background information on teams and presented relevant information on the different types of teams. A focus of the presentation was the discussion of elements that can benefit or hinder success, and this led to great discussion of team structure. One of the main concepts that was presented throughout the presentation was that of how important it is for the company and organization itself to provide the resources and support for the groups and teams, providing them with the right resources and putting together teams that would be successful. Overall, our project was very comprehensive and well received from the client and participants per our post-workout or post-presentation survey. Many participants felt that the information covered was useful and could potentially be applied in their workplace setting, and if given the opportunity, would attend a very similar workshop in the future. However, while we did get some survey feedback, we had a fairly limited sample size, leading to us conclude the results were particularly inconclusive. However, given the vast amount of resources used and the level of analysis and synthesis we went into creating the presentation, we were confident the materials was of high quality. So looking at what the presentation reflections and recommendations, first starting with organizational structure and innovation, what could be something that would be beneficial to Celanese going forward? They could benefit from organizational development consulting, and then also innovation as possible, but it needs to determine end goals. So the company needs to make sure that they are determining what the purpose and what they want out of organizational structure. So what do they see as the future? And then that's how we can work on getting their structure set up to have that end goal result ultimately. And then moving on to psychology of safety. Psychologically, safety and psychology of safety can require unique solutions. So not every solution or method is going to be applicable to each organization. So with Celanese and their company, they need to make sure that they're fitting the right methods and the right requirements for their company. And then intervention should be created following proper evaluation. And then lastly, groups and teams. There are several components that make teams successful, and they should be reviewed periodically. So that can involve leadership components and periodic evaluations of the team and their progress. That can evaluate the effectiveness of the team. They can track the progress and seeing if they're on track or not, and if not, it can steer them in the right direction. And then the recent increase in the amount of research on groups and teams has led to new and innovative team structures. So with giving groups and teams this relatively new concept in the workplace, mainly in the military and aviation fields, and now more so in nursing as well, there's always going to be more new and innovative information out there to review. So just making sure that the company is keeping up on the new information, the new research, and the new findings can help them go forward with successful and effective teams. So the key takeaways from the student consultant perspective, first, it was kind of a challenge to coordinate and manage the project throughout, with multiple people being in different time zones and everyone having to work around multiple jobs and just home life. It was definitely a challenge of the project to coordinate and manage throughout over the past however many months it's been. So that was definitely a takeaway that we took from the practicum project. And then secondly, just the desire to provide quality information. Everybody went above and beyond to provide and to dig deeper for the information, and it wasn't always easy. There wasn't a lot of information that we felt was new or innovative that would have been applied, but everybody did their best, and the end result, I think, showed um, just that. And then the importance of proper contracting and communication with the client. In the beginning, we had some miscommunication, or we didn't really fully understand the scope of what the proposal entailed. So just by reaching out with the client, and making sure that we clarified any information, reaching out to Dr. Palmer to clarify and to ask for assistance, was definitely a huge help, steering us on the right path and in the right direction. Um, and overall, we really enjoyed it, and we hope that it was valuable and things were useful for the client and the organization. Thank you.